Yes, Crowy here. Another episode of the Sparky Coach podcast. What's up? What is happening in your life, in your world? Hope good things. And just want to touch on something. If you are struggling with motivation or just struggling to get moving, sometimes it happens. You just got to Taylor Swift shake it off, give it the old wibbity wibbity, give it a shake off, and just make sure you're doing something for yourself. Maybe it's exercising, maybe it's surfing, maybe it's something. And just get involved and just snap back to reality. And I think it's important because to maintain like a high level of motivation, you can get tired. And I think when you're pushing really hard, you can get really busy and make some bad decisions. So it's important to do things for yourself and do things for others, but make sure you are filling your tank, filling your cup. And so anyway, it's closed the month week in Sparky Coach, and it's that time of month again, you might say, and we're all in sync or NSYNC. How good was that Bye 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 NSYNC song? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're all in sync. We're closing the month. It's that time of the month, and just want to highlight to everyone the importance of closing the month. We do it every month in Sparky Coach. We sort of, shut the program down for a month and, for a week, shut the program down for a couple of sessions and just be like, all right, let's reflect on how last month went, what's going good, what needs to be going better, and what do we need to do to make sure that we hit our goals at the end of 2024. So obviously, like in a trade sense, you want to have some long-term vision, but we sort of know your long-term vision is have some beers or a kombucha or a coffee on a back deck, watching the sunset with some kids playing or no kids, whatever. But like it's probably something to do with a bit of freedom in and around your lifestyle and a bit of freedom in and around your financial stuff. That's pretty much it. And lifestyle freedom really does come from financial freedom. If you can afford it, you can do it. And if you can do it, you be stoked. So it's like, chances are that's your 5-year plan or your 10-year plan to create something that creates something like an asset in the business, or create something that can be kept or sold, but produces money whether you're there or not. That's probably your goal, and that's awesome. And I think how you get there sometimes is by doing the yearly stuff, like by going, okay, where do I want to be at the end of 2024? Want to be here? Cool. Sick. Let's go for that. And it's amazing, I just want to read some questions out from the form we get everyone to fill out, because it's really important to go, am I on track to complete my goals? And there's nothing quite like being in the washing machine or the dryer or the hamster wheel to be just doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. And that is absolutely 100% the definition of insanity, to be doing the same thing twice or doing the same thing consistently or doing the same thing continually, striving very, very hard, but always expecting a different outcome. Or maybe, it's like the classic business owner, get to the end of the year, it's not quite what I thought. Sweet, if I just push really hard again, it'll be different. It won't be different. It's going to be exactly the same. And I think you've just got to grip it and rip it and grab your business by the hands, grab your business by the balls, and just take some initiative, take back some control, and sort of steer it in the direction that you want. And it's amazing what reflection can do for your business. It's amazing what pulling yourself out of the day-to-day operations for a couple of hours and be like, okay, where am I going to land this plane at the end of 2024? Classic example here is you might stop and say, okay, I want an additional 2 tradie apprentice teams. So let's just take that example. I want an additional 2 tradie apprentice teams at the end of 2024, or something not too dissimilar, and an admin to come on board. Cool, sweet. So if that's the case, what do we need for those teams to come on board? Those new employees to come on board, we need some work. So that puts the emphasis back on finding work or lead generation or whatever you want to call it, getting some more work in the front door, whether that's by the organic David Hasselhoff or joining a BNI or chucking some money in Google Ads or dabbling in the mystery and dark arts that is SEO, where no one knows how to do it. It's just it's going to take 7 months. This is we don't know what's going to happen, but the SEO gods will honor you after 6 or 7 months of paying $1,000 a month. We don't know how it happens. It just happens, right? That's classic SEO god 101. But yeah, so it's basically saying, okay, so we need some more work. So we're going to start chasing some work. And this is really important, because if you think you're busy now and you've got, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 staff and you want to add 3, 4, or 5 staff members, if you think, oh, I'm so busy now, I don't have time for this, well, how much busier are you going to be with an additional 3 or 4 or 5 resources? A lot busier, so to speak. So we need to reframe our definition of busy. And busy, I think I did a podcast a few months ago on the problem with being busy. And just to reframe, sometimes being really busy is just a great indicator. So if you've got no time for working on the business, it's a great indicator that you're too busy. If you're doing 40, 50 hours or 60 hours on the tools, that's not to be worn as a badge of honor. That's to be worn as a badge of stupidity. You need to slap yourself in the face and be like, slap back to reality. Whoa, there goes my face. What do the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap. That is a Dave Chappelle quote, if you didn't know. But you need to slap yourself in the face and be like, okay, 30 hours of that could go to someone else. And then all the work we're missing because I'm not getting back to people, I could start to get back to them, and then the engine room, i.e. the office, can build the workload because you miss 100% of the quotes that you don't send. You miss 100% of the quotes you don't send. And you would have heard my story. I remember being real manic on the tools, like, this business cannot operate without the big dog, woof. I was just woofing out the window, woofing at everyone, no time for anything, and slipped with a 25mm speedball straight through my fingers, tendon, artery, nerve times 2. My fingers and hand was in like a periscope for a few months, like a plastic cast where I wasn't able to bend it. All of a sudden, guess what I had time for? Surgery. Yeah, I had time for surgery. Guess what else I had time for? Hand therapy with Mary from Miranda. God bless you, Mary. I was legit, I was at one of my best mate James and Alex's house, and we would pour out buttons out of like a massive jar and just pick them up and put them back in. So in between Monopoly games with those two and Elodie, my wife, I was picking up buttons. I was just like trying to get the movement back. But all of a sudden I was so busy. Like, you have no idea how busy I was. I was the busiest person you've ever seen. I had no time for anything. All of a sudden, insert injury here, guess what I now had time for? Hand therapy 3 or 4 times a week. I had now time for the office stuff. I had time to go to surgery. I had time to have some time off. I had time now because I had a problem, and the problem was I couldn't move my left hand. And the problem was my left hand was in a cast. So it's like, it's amazing. Like, you can make the time. You're just choosing not to. That's a big thing to understand. And so many of us prioritize the site work, thinking the money's made or lost on site. And to an extent, your processes and stuff, yeah, 100%. You can. Some money is made or lost on site, but the money is made or lost in the office. If you've cooked the quote, then it doesn't matter how good you are on site, you are unable to make the money because you stuffed the quote up. Like, if you don't send the variations bill over, then you might lose $5, $10, $15, $20,000. So a 2-hour email can make you $10, $15, $20,000. Or a 1-day walk around, or a 1-day conversation with your staff members, the client, the builder, the developer, the commercial owner, whatever, and a couple of emails can net you some serious cash. So chances are you're making the hard money and not the smart money. On-site's the hard money. When you're putting the sweat into something, when you're directly exchanging your time for money, chances are you're making some hard money. We want to make the smart money. We want to use other people's time and sell that. And that's just running a business 101. And I think you've got to recognize that the money's made or lost in the office, and you pull yourself back out and you go, okay, what do I want to see at the end of the year? I want to see this. Okay, what does that mean for my tomorrow? And I would really encourage you to set some goals that impact your today. So if you just said, I just want to stay the same, end of 2024, same size company, same profit, same rusty 84 high ace, same 22-inch rims, same, right? Then don't do anything. Stay exactly how you are, right? But if you want to go, I want to increase my profit by the end of 20, I want to have same crew, but I want to increase the bottom line, basically. Sweet. Okay, let's get back to measuring job efficiency, day efficiency. Let's check everything. Let's not just look at, here's the most cooked thing about measuring hours. And this is one thing, this is our point of difference 101. Like, we are Sparkies at Sparky Cash. I know it's hard to believe we are Sparkies. It's like, no, Cam and I are both Sparkies. and you're getting trained or coached by licensed Sparkies who can do the work not quite as good as you, but like maybe we used to do it a little bit better than you know, back in the day. But you're getting trained by Sparkies who can do the on-site work, but also who can do the off-site work. That's our sort of like point of difference, I guess you would say. And I know as well as you know that a pound for pound hour measuring can be foundationally cooked, right? So if you just looked at it and went like, oh, I quoted 12 and we did it in 12, great, good job. Like, or if you looked at it and said, oh, we quoted 12 hours and we did it in 20 hours, oh, I better up the prices. It's not always as black and white as that. It was like, did the schedule line up properly? Did the materials arrive at the right point? Was the job organized? Did we charge the variations, or did we lose it because we lacked out that last conversation? Did I have the wrong staff member on that job? Did I have two wrong staff members and one good person, but the wrong person did the job, the actual kind of the gritty work? Like, did I hit that job in 17 4-hour slots rather than like a full week? How was the job approached? Did I hand the job notes and the quote information straight to the person who was doing the job? Like, what went on in the job? And I think that's what you've got to look at. You've got to look at like pricing, yes, billable hours, yes, but also your process. And how was your process? And do you have checklists and templates and like rough-in checklists and quote checklists, end of job checklists? And we've got all that stuff on lock, and it's so important. And it's important to measure hours. If you've heard anything I've ever done, and I just want to encourage everyone, like closing the month, we'll get to a couple of questions in a sec from the form we fill out, but like, I'd never went a week without measuring my hours. Just want to say that again. Well, like, as soon as I started measuring my hours, I think it was probably 2013. It was like this light bulb. I say light bulb, but it was like this, like around the world LED strip just lighting up the globe. I was like, holy crap! Like, as soon as I started measuring, I could see everything. I was like, I can see what I'm doing wrong. I can see that conversation that I didn't have, or that I did have, or that I tried to quote to my ability and be like, we'll smash that out in 14 hours. Like, I'm gonna smash that job out in 90 minutes, and really it was 3 hours because my ego was so attached to my work, and all my insecurity was attached. And I'm like, do you reckon this person understands this is a $3,000 job? And I'm like, it's gonna be about $2,500, and I could like see my issues in my company. I was like, oh, it's me. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Taylor Swift style, if you know what I'm saying. And I could just see it. I would see it. And I was like, I never went a week since that 2013 without measuring hours and watching it and being like, how did that job go? How did that quote go? And I just think if you're too busy to measure hours, if you're too busy to check job profitability or job handling, then I don't know how to move forward with that. Like, I don't know, you've obviously, and I hope you can see what I'm saying here, there's probably some kind of foundational belief system where you think being a good Sparky is enough, and it's just not enough. It's not enough, right? It's not enough. You've got to be profitable and making money, and when you're making good money, you can pay people well, and when you're making good money, you can pay people on time, and when you're making good money, you can earn good money. And I think like everything sort of will peg back to that. And then you look at it and you'd be like, okay, how did that job go? Cool. Didn't have enough minutes. We handled that job perfectly. Couldn't have gone better. It was a sunny day. The birds were chirping. The cable rollers were on site. And we got to reverse the car right up. It's a problem. We had smoke. Like, we had one break, and it was just where I couldn't have gone any better. And then I poked the tongue up, and it poked me in the eye. I was like, oh my gosh, the tongue hit me in the eye. Like, this is the best day ever. And some jobs just go really well. And if a job went really, really well, and when you measure it, it's breaking 100, like just hitting 100% or less than 100%, you can be sure you've got a foundational pricing issue, right? So it's really interesting to see. A lot of people are pricing to their ability and best case scenario. I'll say that again. You're obviously really good at your job. Just look at yourself in the mirror, give yourself a little squint, and be like, who's a good Sparky? Who's a good little boy Sparky? Me. That's me, baby. I'm the man, or I'm the woman, or I'm the person, whether you identify with something or not. Whatever. One thing you can probably identify with is a weapon Sparky. And that's cool. And you just got to go like, okay, so I smashed that job out. Couldn't have gone any better because I'm the best person that's ever lived. All right, sweet. And we hit 80%, 90%, 100%. Cool. Okay, foundational pricing issue. So if you're on the tools, You've heard me say this before. You should be hitting 110 to 120% efficiency if you're quoting the job. Why? Because your ability probably transcends the trade gods, right? Probably transcends other humans, probably transcends borders, transcends galaxies, because there's no one else quite like you. And that's cool, right? That's why we probably started the business, because you're just a fantastic operator. And that's, I don't know many people that started a business because of their superior business knowledge. Everyone started it basically because they were really good at their job, and then you got recommended to read the E-Myth, and then you realized that, well, that's a pretty good book, but it's hard to implement because got so much to do tomorrow. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, cool, okay. So just pull yourself back out just for a little bit, work out where you want to be at the end of this year. You know where you want to be in 5 years' time. You know what you want to do in 10 years' time. You know you want to be left when you retire with some sort of asset or some sort of like revenue from the sale of an asset. That's pretty much what you want. Or some kind of like asset, i.e. the business, that's generated you assets. So the business should be like a Trojan horse. You know what I mean? Trojan horse. Actually, the kids got gifted some Lego from my mate. Lego. If you are actually, if you got kids, you understand what the hell. Why is there so much Lego? Why, is it ankle breaker? It's not just the Lego, it's the storage of the Lego. Plus, it's the creations that the kids make. And then it's plus if you've got to get up in the night and do a wee, God forbid, and you're just going to break your ankle on that Lego. I'm going to get back in that plastic cast and then back with Mary picking up buttons. Crazy times. Anyway, the kids got gifted this Trojan horse, and I want you to see your business as like a Trojan horse. It's just chugging along. Just chugging along, right? And it's doing good things, and it's collecting staff members, so it's moving more hours through it. And anytime you're moving more hours through it, you're moving more materials through it. And anytime you're moving hours and materials, you're probably making money if you're quoting correctly. So let's just picture this Trojan horse moving forward, making some money, moving forward, making some money, moving forward, making some money, moving forward, making some money. Let's picture a drawbridge coming down. Drawbridge comes down. If you're listening to this, just my arm is straight and now it's folding down into a drawbridge. Trojan horse coming across the drawbridge. Lands in the castle. Drawbridge comes up. Big moat around it, right? Now, gets in there and you're like, cool, look at this business, great. Open up the horse, right? Personal property, commercial property, like asset stuff. That's what your business should be. Your business is a Trojan horse for generating other assets, whether it's commercial property or personal property or acquiring another business or something like that, or investing in something. That's investing in shares, stock market. That's what your business is for. So if you're just seeing your business as did I get 40 hours in this week or not? Or if you're just seeing your business man, these staff are freaking killing me. You need to pull yourself back and be like, okay, it's hard to be the Trojan horse when you're lying on the ground making star angels, right? So it's you need to actually see the business for what it could be, for what it should be, and that's an asset that can get you other assets, right? Hope you understood that Trojan horse. I think there's a movie. Is the Trojan horse actually real, or was it a myth? Can someone let me know that? That'd be fantastic. Anyway, Greek mythology, not my strong point, actually. Trade gods, my strong point. Sparky's my strong point. So, going to go through a couple of questions. We've got a challenge in this. And my challenge for you would have heard this in the last podcast, that my April challenge for you is to double your office time. So double your office time if you're still on the tools, double it and see what happens. Just for a month, just for a second, just a tip, just to see how it feels, right? Just do it. Just trust me. Just do it for 3 to 4 weeks and see what happens. I think you'll find at the end of 4 weeks, you would have recognized a bunch of problems foundational in your quoting. You probably increase your revenue and increase your profit just because you're not so manic, right? So double your office time if you're still part on the tools. My challenge to you for the next 3 to 4 weeks. My challenge for you if you're off the tools is double your leisure time. You heard me, right? Remember that Leisure Suit Larry game that came out on, was it the Commodore 64? Holy crap, that was a great game. Anyway, double your leisure time. So double your golfing, double your gymming. No, probably not double your gymming, but double your surfing. Make sure you're getting like an exercise bracket every single day. Double something if you're in the office, and watch your productivity increase. Just do it. Let me know how you go. I'd love to hear. So that's my challenge to you. Now, here we go. I think it's important, like I said, work out where you want to be at the end of 2024, and then put the steps into place, like of how are you going to get there. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to go through a couple, what time is it? Okay. We're going to go through like a couple of situations here, what I would encourage you to do. So one of our reflections is in the finding workspace. You might call it lead generation. I don't really care what you call it. It's the same thing. I would encourage you, how is your short-term schedule? In other words, 0 to 2 weeks. Like, how are you placed short-term? How are you placed mid-term, i.e. 2 to 4 months out? And how are you placed long-term, i.e. 4 months plus? I think if you fill out those 3 questions, you'll get a pretty clear indicator of where your company is, what your company needs. So sometimes you look at it and you're like, yeah, I do real estate inspections. The next 2 weeks are so busy and I've got 4,500 to book in for the rest of the year. Okay, cool. I think we're on the same page. You can probably hire someone, right? Sometimes you look at it and you be like, hey, our short-term schedule for the next 2 to 3 weeks is absolutely bare, but I've got these jobs coming up, starting up in May, June, July, August, whatever, and that's going to tide us over for 6, 12, 18 months. Cool. Okay, what's that showing us? We might need to dabble in Google Ads, or find some maintenance stuff, or follow up with the small quotes we thought were insignificant, or follow up the small jobs we thought were insignificant that are now going to plug some holes to get us from A to B, to get us from project to project, or commercial job to commercial job, or property to property, or developer to developer, or whatever, right? Or you look at it and you're like, far out, I'm really, like, a lot of times you see people go really, really busy for 1 to 4 weeks, and then after that, not much. And in certain style businesses, that's okay, but it's very hard to grow a business very hard to grow a business with 100% like confidence when you're looking at it going like, we don't have much work in 2 weeks time, right? It's very hard to hire someone when you're full for 2 weeks, but nothing's after that. And you'll have some kind of formula to this. You'll have some kind of like, about 40 to 50 to 60 hours come in every single week. That's good. There's certain market trends or certain business trends. And sometimes, you might go to a job to replace a light fitting, all of a sudden black cable rewire. Perfect. There's another week's worth of work. So it's hard to put an exact science on it, but there is a certain amount of predictability of like, we've seen this happen before. But if you can answer those 3 questions, short-term, mid-range, and long-range schedule, you'll find out, okay, what do I need to do? I might need to hire an admin, hire an apprentice, or hire a field staff member. On the apprentice front too. And another question which we ask in this is, what's your next hire? Do you know what your next hire is? Because if you fill that in, and now you're asking yourself, what's my next hire? A lot of times, I think you need to release the admin 3 to 6 months earlier than you think. So by the time it's time to release the admin, it's too late. That's my, if you watch anyone's business take off or double down or go really well, chances are they've released a portion or a lot of their admin recently. That's probably what's happened. Why? Because they've released the mundane, generic stuff that can be performed by someone else, and now they're starting to focus on the items that actually generate revenue and generate income and generate profit. In other words, job costing, day efficiency, like job efficiency, or now I'm chasing some more work, so now I've got more food on the table for the guys to eat, and now I'll cook that, like that price book is awesome, this price book item is not awesome, okay, let's level that up. And that's all that stuff's done in the office. That's where the money's sort of made or lost. So if you ask yourself those questions and ask yourself what that next hire is, and sometimes it's interesting, apprentices are absolutely fantastic. You would have heard me preach that, if you can't find the tradie, you might have to create the tradie through an apprentice. But like, certain people's companies can handle one tradie, and the 2 apprentices can be with that one tradie. A great example is like a ducted aircon system, or a rough in, or a fit off, or solar. where it's like, okay, yeah, that tradie, in other words, a person who's good and knows what's going on, can control those two people and manage those two people pretty effectively and pretty efficiently, right? That's it. Other times, if you had a service and maintenance job, changing an isolator or doing a switchboard upgrade, and it had two apprentices standing behind you, it's like, it's the rogue trader's philosophy, like, I see you watching me, watching you, like, right? Like in that bass, just like watching your money float down in the gutter because your ratio is cooked, right? So super interesting now. I want to encourage everyone to, like, your business, although it has its element of same, it's probably got its own fingerprint, and it's probably got its own DNA basically, and that's to do with you as well and your style of work and bits and pieces. So I want to encourage you, do you know what that is, and do you know what you need, and do you know your work schedule, and do you know what your next hire is, and do you know where you want to land in 2024? So yeah, that's like 3 questions from a form of about 40 that we go through every single month. So if you wanted more information on our program, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you. But if you ask yourself those questions, the big question is, where do you want to be at the end of 2024? And are you putting the things in place right now that need to happen so you can see that come to reality? Thanks for hanging out. Crowy here. Rock and roll, baby. Have the best day ever. See you guys soon.